Gonna have a cookie first thing in the stream. Before I even know if this sound is working. Okay, Twitch live. There we go. Just in time to be chewing into my microphone. Great. All right, I'm gonna put the cookies aside. I probably shouldn't be eating them right now anyways. All right, so am I really creating a inspector and an internal entity component system structure similar to what Unity was using back when I was working with it? We'll see, we'll see. Okay, so there's a couple of things. Yeah, the last item was that if a cell did not already have a text value, then my code would just fail because it would know how to create it. So let's deal with that right away. I think better now than not. Cage component, apply style, update path, get value. So I'm guessing it's apply style that actually does the failing here. So let's find our test cases without values, right? So if I click here and then put a 1 here, it blows up. And it blows up where specifically? Update component. So 408. So this should really be inside the component, I believe. All right, so let's go to 408. And then here, we're gonna move it into the cage component. Interestingly enough, is this generic? I think this is generic, like we can do this for any component, right? So if we look at edit component, we have a generic underlying update component, update inspector. So the only issue here is that this is actually dealing with the updating of the inspector. And in fact, it's primarily dealing with that. Let's see. All right, cage component, add cell, remove cell. No, not cage component. We want to put this into the underlying component editor. So cage component extends component. So we have component, render, create element, store element, render. Now we're just going to have an update, right? And we're just going to pass the update in here. And this is going to be this. And elms.val, well, it doesn't know anything about elms. So this one is going to be kind of like the basic version, where it's just going to replace the properties one by one with whatever's in the update. So we could make a case that whoever is updating it needs to, from the outside, pass this kind of information in. But for now, we're just going to do props key equals update key. That's really all we want from this piece of code here. Like that. And then, actually we want to put this down here. And then we're going to override this in our cage component. let's just do this update. See what it'll look like. Now, in this case, we probably don't want to just call the inherited thing. And now, instead of running a component update component here, we actually want to call update component on the component itself. So where does this get called? Update component. Handle inspector. Edit component. What if we do this here? I mean, this will blow up all sorts of ways. I just want to get the stack trace. 403. Let's just get rid of that. 403. Yeah, don't need that right now. So if I put this in here, handle inspector change ultimately calls update component, and handle inspector change is going to be happening down here. Here the video restream isn't updating the video. Let's see. Can I refresh this? Are they actually putting restream into my stream? Hope not. Huh. Gotta be careful there. I don't want to get all sorts of rubbish into my live streams. It looks fine so far. If you guys notice any weird restream branding, please let me know. All right. So, editor component. I don't think it's actually happening here. I think it's happening. Ah, sorry. Yeah, no. Editor component is exactly where I think it's happening. So handle component change. 19. Oh, handle inspector change. All right. So handle inspector change. This update component. Handle inspector change. So handle inspector change. So that means anything in the inspector was modified. So basically that means we're checking if we have a selected element, and then if we do, then we do stuff with it. So if cell dot, and then basically this. Boom. Is not a function. Update. All right, so that hits cage component update. And in this case, the inspector has changed. So we don't actually, at this point, we don't actually need to update the inspector at all. Well, we do actually from this part. Okay, so update inspector deals with this stuff mostly. Inspector element. So update inspector. Here we were calling update component. I'm still getting my head around it. So update component updated the data in the component. Goes all the way up to the base class. And update component in the base class updates inspector, and update inspector does this. Editor component. So if we do this, if we have a selected element, that's the only time we need to update anything, right? So this dot update inspector. And we probably want to log these as well. So let's try this again. I type something in here. So we're getting handle inspector change. Okay, we've changed something in the inspector. It updates the component, changes the value to 1. And that's the currently selected one. So it'll be this one down here. Oops. Okay, this one is causing the errors. Let's use this. Do we have one with smaller description? All right, let's use this one, even though it's tiny. So if I do this, then we get all the way cage component update, editor component update. So editor component cages, cage component update, component. All right, so then we get editor component, cage component update. And then we basically need to do this. Okay. So that updates here. Does it update here? Yes. Let's just, whoops, I want to do this. Let's see what exactly happens. So inspector changes. Then it updates the component. And then we refresh the inspector. Now, if I select another component, it also calls update inspector. Okay. Now, if I do this, it only calls update inspector. So what I'm thinking is we can probably roll the update path and add cell and all that stuff into the update function, right? So first of all, let's get rid of update component here. I don't think we need this at all anymore. Let's see what the base function here is. Update on component. It just calls update inspector, basically. Update inspector. So update inspector is on. One second, I'm just thinking, because this updates according to what's currently selected. So I don't want to get these two confused. So when we're handling an inspector change, so we have the cage editor. And in the editor component, we have a handle inspector change. So that's what happens when the inspector has a modification. And handle component change is what happens when we're selecting a different component. Now, handle inspector change does this. And it updates the inspector. The thing is, I would like to be able to update the inspector whenever the component updates. So I would like to have a different path back, ideally. So I don't have to like update the component and then update the inspector right after, you know? I mean, one way of doing it would be to wrap update component, or to wrap the component.update with update component, which just does these two lines, basically, you know? But that seems a little petty. I think I'm going to get rid of it for now, because I already have so much duplication. So we're calling update, but we don't have update component on the editor component. So the update component up here disappears. Those are all gone. Right? This still completely works. Okay. And now the question is, do I want to roll those kinds of updates for the cells and such into the update function. So for example, add cell. Like I could literally call it update, put in some little magic syntax, you know, add cell, yada yada. Or the other way around, right? After calling add cell and so on, we're really kind of doing, wait, update path. No, wait, we're already updating component here, okay. So maybe we'll make this a little bit more explicit and we call this update props. Right. So find.update. This is just going to be called update props. And that'll be it for now. So we can edit this. All right. So now let's go back to this. No, to this case. And if I do this, now we're ending up at cage update props. And cage update props fails here. And I'm trying to think. At this point, yeah, the data should already be in the SVG. So we might not have a UI, but we will always have a board, right? So that stuff will always work. And the difference between this is basically the call to render text inside render cage. So render cage, if we have text, it's doing also this. Now, is there anything here that I need from the other stuff? Because basically I won't have the default options available here. And I mean, probably the easiest option in this case would be to erase the cage and then rebuild it from scratch with the new information in it. Let's see. The elements get extracted where? Get value. Cage component. Get cage elements. All right, so it pulls these two out. So all we really would have to do then is call this again after re-rendering that cage. Let's try it, right? So if elements.val equals undefined, and then I'm just going to have some sort of function that just recreates re-render, right? Rebuild SVG. Let's just call it rebuild SVG for now. And then we can worry about it elsewhere. Oop. All right. So if elements.val equals undefined, we'll do the one thing, else we'll do this thing. And at this point, we already updated, so the props should be up to date, right? This.rebuild SVG. Okay. Boom. If elements.val equals undefined. 361. Ah. Oh. We don't even have a cage value at this point. If props.cage value equals undefined, else do this. Okay. Because we can't even disassemble it and put it back together, right? At this point, we don't even know what the right row column here are. But I'm pretty sure we can find them. Find cage val. I thought I had a function. Let me have a look at that sorty thing, which finds our cage value. Oh man, still hassling with that. So we've had this, but I don't even know what that does, and I don't think it does the right thing. Let's see. Get value. Interesting. Wait a second. Get value. It just occurs to me that these things aren't used here. So it occurs to me that I can do this. Sucks that I can't define val and then reuse it in a destructuring let assignment. It's wait, maybe I can actually. Let rc val if equals undefined, do a thing, else do this thing. I think I can just do this. All right, let's see. Let me just check the parsing actually of this thing. What does it parse exactly? Aha. So if we don't have a val, we don't want a thing. Val and val and val or nada. If cage value is not equals to undefined. Where do we call get value? New cage value, update path. Get value. Reading set attribute. Parse. RCVal, get value. Wait a second. Add cell, update path, 347. 347 set attribute. No. Where's get value getting called from? Yeah. Boom. Get value is called in line 311. What message is coming in? Apparently my dog is Having a grand old lazy time at the office. Here we go. There it is. Boom. New cage value, R7C1. And props.cage value is... So I'm assuming it's different, right? Props.cage value is undefined. So if it's undefined... thing is, it'll always try to set it, even when there's no value. I see. Can I read properties of undefined reading set attribute update path? If val elem and val bg elem. Only if both of them exist do any of these things. Otherwise, you're done at that point. Okay, if I come here, I'm gonna do this. Okay, so far so good. So now this is basically universal. Yeah, it's fine. And if I now update props, right? So I do this and I hit update props and eventually rebuild SVG. Okay. So at this point, we're missing some elements. We got the props. And I just want to see what the props look like at this point. So props are like this. Now, if I do get value, what do I get? I get the row column thing. If I change it, it'll be different. Okay, that's good. But it also means we kind of got to do this here. So what we really want to do here is we want to parse get value, but I feel like I'm going in circles, right? If I call get value, what does get value do? It regenerates. It calculates. So it's not really get value. It's just like calc value or whatever. It basically gets the value calculation, etc. You know what? I'm gonna rename this to get cage value. And I'm gonna be able to pass val in here. Right? And if props is if val equals undefined and props blah blah blah, then we'll do that. Then I can do get value X, for example. And that should get me a different value here. Props, get value is get cage value. Oh. All right. Get value, yeah, okay. So then we can generate the value according to what the new blah whatever is, right? And then here we can do, we know that we are updating something, right? Key update key, and we can do this dot get cage value update key. And that would be the new thing. We should never, this code shouldn't exist, right? Unity3D, blah de da. Update props, get cage value R7C13. And without an argument, in a cage that has something in it, what does it do? It gets us the original one, exactly. Okay. So we are actually now just interested in this part. Here. Boom. Okay. So we can update this, no problemo. And then if elements.val equals undefined, rebuild SVG. And then otherwise we can do this. It's a bit confusing. Called update val. Just so we don't mix it up with val referencing to the value of the cage. Alright. That coffee was getting cold. One sec, I'm just checking something. All right. Now, next step is actually rebuilding the SVG, right? So to do that, first, we got to remove it. So we can just do object.keys, keys, elms for each elm dot remove. I think that's all we would need to do. Okay, so go here, put that in, and I misspelled object again. My finger just lingers on the control for too long. Elm.remove is not a function. Remove SVG element. Well, I guess I'll just have to look into it. That remove doesn't exist. Remove element. Remove node. I don't know, it's got to be one of these, right? No. No. So, what do we have on here? We don't have a remove function on this. Okay. Well, finding that annoying. Remove. How to remove. Okay. How to remove an SVG path element. geometry element, SVG element, SVGA element, graphics element, SVG element, and this is of type element. Remove. But it doesn't seem to have a function. Change to the keys. I'm an idiot. Oh my god, I'm such an idiot. Yeah, there it is. I was looping through the keys. Hey, Lord. Yeah, I'm finally feeling like I'm making some progress, but I also feel like I'm rebuilding the Unity user interface somehow. I'm still a bit unsure about my approach of making my editor interact with the SVG and understanding both the data and the SVG. But if I can pull it off, at least it'll be powerful and it can do all sorts of things. You know, basically you could literally give it an SVG file and could extract the puzzle data from it. Sort of, more or less. Ultimately, maybe. Alright, now I can just do this, and that should remove the entire thing. And if I do this, it disappears. Yes, okay. Now, since it's disappeared, we should also be able to re-render it. And that should happen via render cage. Render cage, render cage. And it's basically this code. Let cage equals and const svg renderer equals framework.app. Alright. Alright. We don't know why that's there. Parse cells. So I think we can just use the cells reference we already have. That comes from props. And that comes from props.style. I think that's kind of all we need. We'll see in a second. And then afterwards, obviously, we have to extract them back out again. Cage is not defined. Cage. Don't know if that's relevant. It's not. Ah, look at that. Okay. Now, obviously, we have to rebuild it. Which I guess we can just do from this. I think. Cage element. Cage element. So this does not return the element. All right. Does this work? Okay. But this doesn't work, which is curious. Which means the elem's reference that I'm using for hovering doesn't get updated. Hey, Anshuman. All right, I'm gonna try it. Anshuman Mohapatra. Is that all right? Or did I mangle that completely? Yeah, so my suspicion is that, let's say, where I'm handling the movement of the input, basically the mouse, somehow one of these, get cage from cell, for example, doesn't work anymore. Which is strange. Oh, it does, but the style doesn't work. Oh, wow, that's interesting. Okay, apply style. Props for each columns. This. So, huh? So if I do this, there is a because it was selected. So the the selection style isn't applied at that point. But otherwise all the other stuff works. That's actually really good. Get cage elements. Get cage elements. So we should be able to do object.assign this.elements. Not exactly, because we might actually want to delete all of these object. You know what? I'm just gonna make this fresh. That's fine. So this works. What doesn't work is the handling of the selection style. So at the moment that we're updating the cell, our style isn't applied anymore. So we have two choices. We remember the style. Apply style. Style name, this.style. Props. Cage border styles. Style name. This.current style equals style name. So then when we're doing this, we can do an apply style. This.current style name. Something like that, right? Look at that. And that was kind of fluentless. Ooh, okay, that won't work. How you can learn game development? That's a good question. I think probably the best way to learn is to make a game, right? So you probably have to start with finding a tutorial and following it and making something simple. Like from beginning to end. I mean, it also depends on, do you want to be able to make a game by yourself? Do you want to know all the pieces, or do you want to learn a specific skill? Let's say, do you want to become an animator or a designer or things like that? So a game jam might also be good for that. So you can kind of join with a group, you know? Like for me, I wanted to be able to do all the things. So kind of build something small, build something bigger, and keep building. While if you want to do a specific skill, you might be better off learning, like doing a course and so on, and looking for job listings and that kind of thing. All right, we gotta, so this happens when our value becomes an empty string. So when we have an empty string, items.value equals undefined. I feel that when we have an empty string, this won't trigger. And this we can always do now, because after this the elements would always exist, if they need to exist. So the question is, at this point, update val could be undefined or an empty string, right? That case, probably the best thing would be to join like a local game jam, because one thing that like I've been a programmer all my life, right? So I always looked at it as a question of writing code. But when I joined my first game jam, and I haven't been to many, I was surprised to find that people just sat down and said, oh, okay, do we make a card game, or which board games should we think about, and stuff like that. And kind of opens the mind a little bit about what it means to make a game, what is a game, and all that sort of thing. You know, you can potentially make all sorts of... And I found, you know, because personally I don't sit down and have an idea of a game I want to make, but I'm interested in building systems and subparts of games. So I'm actually really happy to sit around people who have ideas and want to do a bunch of different things, you know? So it's a good place to kind of learn about these different roles and kind of getting a feel for what other people bring to the table as well, and what that means, right? So, yes, I want to delete these. So if I delete the last step, let me clear this. So it's still a string, but it's not a blank string. So if it's a blank string and or it's undefined, we probably want to remove it. So if this is undefined, or date val equals undefined, do we want to accept undefined actually at this point? 1 second. Do we want to accept undefined? Because I did this. Cannot set property of undefined. Set text content. Yeah. If so, well. Yeah. Making a mess here. Halfway through writing a line of code, I changed my mind. If I delete this, we're getting an empty string. So I'm not sure how we end up with undefined here, but I think we can presume this is always going to be at least an empty string. So then we don't have to do all this other checking. If else_while is undefined, or update val is the empty string, then we want to do the rebuild. And in the rebuild, if we have an empty string, we'll see. Ooh, doesn't like that. It does not like that. One. You'll find a lot easier than surgery, I tell you. Especially since you can do it at almost any level, right? You can literally do it very simply, do something in a few days, make a simple, fun thing. I'm always impressed with people who can put something together that's simple and really fun. I can put a lot of effort and skill into something and have it not be fun. All right. So if we don't, that's a problem. So here we go. Here we say if props.cage value. The problem is I'm currently generating a cage value even if this is blank. To be honest, that should really be handled in render cage, shouldn't it? So in render cage, we're checking cage value here. But we should really be looking at val in there. I don't think letting people put empty spaces in there actually helps very much. So let's see. Create a value, delete the value, cage value, R7, yada yada. So if I do let, pull this out of here, we want to have cage value and this little thingy. And if not, cage value is not equal to undefined, and val is not equal to an empty string. I don't know if val will come back as yeah, no. We need to check if it's undefined first. Otherwise, no, wait a second. This should work if this is undefined. Parse RC val. So I think this should be able to accept undefined and not just blow up. So RCV exec. So where exactly do we blow up? 1504. So I can do this, right? And I can force it to have a valid result. Oops. But what exactly is this valid result then? Because it's not really valid, right? Because it'll give us numbers on these things. Wait a second. It will give us NANs, right? Which we don't want. I think what we really want is something like that m equals this, and then return if not m, return find, else we'll do this. And then return that. Alright, I'm getting myself into some trouble here. Let's see where we're at. If not m, return undefined. Undefined is not iterable. Yes, that's okay. 519, render cage. Enable cage style 7. 519. 519. Here, reminder, streaming the core code for your creation. Want to post some integrity breach or something, others can copy them and make something of their own. Well, the code is hardly protected because I don't minify it, so the IDE, that's it's just Sublime Text. It's really just a text editor. Not really much of an IDE. Regarding the code is my thought about the stuff is always the code isn't really the important thing. The important thing is what I'm going to do tomorrow. The code is just what I did yesterday, and the code itself isn't worth anything. Like, if people don't go to the site, nobody cares. Now, somebody could copy it and screw me over, but they would really screw the community, because if I can't keep doing this, then I can't keep running the site, and whoever copied the code is not going to be able to take over with the community and the users and all that stuff. So the value isn't really in the code, the value is in the people using it, right? Otherwise, it's just me having fun on my own. I mean, don't knock that, since I enjoy coding like other people enjoy solving puzzles. So, because I always use the syntax, if I return undefined, it will blow up every time. So instead of returning undefined, I really need to return an empty array. Not return empty array. And then I get undefined in all the internal things. So now, but now if I do this and then do this, okay, first of all, this is slightly easier to manage now. Because otherwise I'll make it easy in one place and then harder in another. All right, so let's see. If I delete this now, what happens? Value becomes empty. Update val returns a string. Get cage values. Reveal. And we end up where exactly? We end up at rebuild SVG. We have elements props. Elements props. Cage value That's inside render cage. 520. Okay. 7.1. Okay, so val is undefined. And val is not equal to undefined this, and val and val and val is that's false. True. Okay, so the empty string is false. Okay, I can do this, I think, and delete it. And what do we get? It's disappeared. Still get an error. And this happened, I think that happened in the tool though. 295. It's not too far from here. If cage.value is undefined, except now I think I can do this. This is going to happen a bunch when we start up, I think. All right, so 1 and delete. Boom. So get cage value. Get cage elements. 7.1 undefined. So now instead of checking on this, we can check on the val part. I think we can do this all sorts of places. So boom. 1, delete. And it's gone. Oh, but then, yeah, okay, but that's a different thing. So that's here now. Yeah, that seems to work. Sweet, all right. Get cage value. I think we're gonna move this into the class as well. I mean, that's what the class is for. So it doesn't just flap around out there. Right. Something like this. And then instead of cage, elements equals this. Cage. Cage. So I think the cage we're passing into get cage elements is actually props. Yeah. Okay. So we have props and elements, and where we're using cage in here. Parse cells. Yeah. Okay. Cage value. And then it's just gonna be this. Get cage elements. It just returns itself, so that's fine. Cage elements. Okay. Oop. Something broke. 298. Sure, I'll find it. Thanks for stopping by. Really appreciate it. Hope to see you tomorrow. All right, 298. 298. I really need to get... Would you guys like to have an on-screen chat? So I think I'd like to get that again. Let me see if I can... Oh yeah, get chat overlay. Ah, Restream can actually do it directly. This is cover URL. Be your favorite browser. Alternatively, use it open in the browser. Let me mess with this for just a second here. If this is my URL, so I should be able to do this and this. Okay. The question is, where would I put it? I think I can configure that. 1 second. Maybe I should not be doing this right now. We probably want it to be fairly small and narrow. Kind of like that. Can I not? I don't know what you guys see right now. I should be doing this right now. Here, the width. Okay. That's probably super tiny and not very useful. But I think I can configure it somewhat. Can I do this transparent? Compact, message alignment top. Actually bottom. Message background opacity 0. Chat background. Yeah. If I do this. Does that just update live? No, I need to update that. Okay. Okay. Can I rename this? Doesn't seem like the transparent background works. Okay. It's supposed to be transparent. Can you guys chat? I need to test this. And I put that into YouTube chat, so that's not gonna be useful. So does that mean if I put that here? Thank you. Okay. It's still not transparent though, which I don't think makes it very useful. And I don't like that ready to display messaging bollocks. Hide messages. After 30 seconds, yeah. I wish they wouldn't have that silly starter message happening here. I mean, in the preview, it's transparent. Okay. Copy. 1 second. I'll try one more time. I'm not seeing any kind of settings for background for transparency or something. 1 second. Let me see if there's something else. So that's browser, media source, window capture, gain capture, set color, clear, order, transform. I mean, I can put I once built my own chatbot just for this kind of thing. So, I mean, I could put it behind me. Except it's not behind me right now. Why is it not behind me? Like that. I don't know. I think it covers up too much. If the chat messages were transparent, like it says it's doing it, that would be fine. I don't know how that works. Yeah, I'm just not gonna use this for now. But it's maybe something to consider in the future to have the restream chat on stream, because then I can even, you know, it'll be nice to have the chat recorded with the video, because the chat recording YouTube is somewhat unreliable, and obviously it's not showing up on Twitch. Anyway, sorry about wasting everybody's time. Hey Craig, how you doing? Back to the subject matter at hand, where we're getting the cages going all nice and smooth here. Elements.path, elements this, elements this. All right. Maybe something isn't quite right. Something isn't quite right. Elements this. Cage sells props. Oh, all right. Because Elms isn't set yet. Okay. Fair enough. I don't know if I should return Elms from here. It's a bit of a double thingamajig, but yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Okay, so apply style gets called a couple of times. Apply style. Probably hide that. All that spam is happening, obviously. Yep. Okay, so now I can put a message here, but I can also delete it and it's gone. This pops to undefined, so let's deal with that next. So cage value is this, update inspector. So that's basically where I think where we're going to look next is cage editor, update inspector. And here val will be undefined. So it's going to be val or empty string. And we can do this now, I think. And we can probably just do this. We're just using this one guy here. So now we can add a bit of text here. We can add a bit of text here. We can choose between those. We can delete it again, and that all works. And we can update the cells. And we can update this. Okay, that's not working. That is updating. Oh, okay. It doesn't work a second time around. Interesting. Okay. That shouldn't be too hard to fix. So, update cage component, add cell, remove cell, update path, apply style, update props. So after update props, update val, so update props, and elements. I'm just curious, the elements shouldn't exist. So we should be hitting the rebuild SVG, and then rebuild SVG we probably want to log out as well. Okay, so add a value, remove it, and we add it again, and that triggers it. So there's no value right now. So value got set to 1. Update val is a string. Props is this. So at this point, we have a val element. So I think the problem is that when we're doing get cage elements here, get cage elements. Elements.path, we're just assigning them here. So we probably want to erase them first. key. Delete elements key. Can we do that? Or will that complain? Oh! Failed to execute remove on element. The node to be removed is no longer a child of this node. Perhaps it was removed in a blur event handler. Okay. So I suspect 564 handle tool exit. Wait, why did we hit handle tool exit? Detach element. Tool editor 564. So we're trying to detach 564. This UI element dot remove. Why are we hitting detach here? Did I maybe? Ah. Oh, because I pressed control. Why would UI element already be removed at this point? That doesn't make any sense. I definitely have to stop those key presses from working, and I thought I already have, but I probably just removed the relevant code of that already. And I just have to put it back again. And we probably want to get parent as well, just to see. So it probably got detached. If I press Ctrl C, it pops over. Ah, wait a second. I think I know. We have key control is true. But we also have this one is true. Ooh. I think what's happening is when I'm pressing the C, so I've typed something, selected, the control gets skipped, but when I press C, we're hitting key handlers, key code C, input, whoops. Active element editor cage values. Yeah, this part we don't actually care about. Active element tag name dot to lowercase. That's what we care about. And it looks like it would be an input event here. So do this, right? Select it and then Control C. What happens? So we have two, one for the control, one for the C. Each one is input. So this should always return false. Unless it's ignoring this one for some reason. So basically, my API basically says, hey, if the handler returns true, don't do your default action. And and that's what I'm relying on, so I can hijack the other key handlers, the hotkeys and all that stuff. But it looks like here, this part is kind of screwing over. So let's just do this quickly. If res turn, and then here we do res, and probably want to remind ourselves where this is happening. All right, refresh, do this, clear, double click, Control, and C. Here it's true, but then we're still hitting handle tool exit. If res is true, if res returns, so the rest of this stuff shouldn't happen. Is it happening maybe on key up? Let's see where handle to exit gets called from. Let's just track this down. I mean, we're getting to a point now where I actually have to make this stuff work, and I can just... Oh, okay, no, it doesn't work anymore. Here we go. Handle tool exit. It's called twice. Tool exit, change tool handle. Yeah, I was worried about that. This is coming from a handle key up. Handle key up. Why is this being handled on key up instead of key down? Handle key up. Change tool. Not equals to undefined. Oh, I think I know what's happening. It's just blanket trying to handle what it thinks is the end of a temporary tool change. That's the temp hotkey is basically when you're pressing control and it switches while you're holding control and then it switches back. But it's not actually figuring out that this didn't happen because it was aborted up here. So let's make sure it actually does get aborted in handle key down. So tool temp key. If press control, blah de da. So I'm wondering if the temp tool switch has already happened at the time we get to this point. Tool temp key. I think this is just getting returned. This doesn't actually do anything. If, yeah, so this change tool part doesn't actually happen. So let's see if we can determine that, because if we can detect that, that's actually a fix, right? That'll potentially fix other bugs as well. We're gonna output the value of this and tool temp key dot name, and now change tool dot change tool equals, so change tool has this prev tool and this dot tool. Okay, so prev tool, this dot prev tool, and tool. I think we can detect that the tool wasn't changed, and I think the other actions shouldn't happen then. Put something in here, get rid of that. And control C, boom. So, handle key up, tool temp key, center. Previous tool undefined, tool editor. So why are we doing anything at all? Tool temp key is not equal to change tool, tool temp key name. Change tool, tool temp key name. True. Event key is control shift alt. So change tool seems to be doing something even when it's not supposed to. This change tool, tool temp key name, true. Key up. So that should always be a release. Shouldn't it? If tool is not undefined. So on key up, if we detect that we have a temporary tool change, why are we changing to this tool? If this doesn't make any sense. Tool temp key dot name. If update keys, if tool temp key equals is not equals undefined, this change tool temp key. Handle key down. Then we're changing to, but we should never change to a temporary key. We should change back, for sure. Yeah, this code is wrong. Why would we ever change temporary tools? Now, I'm a bit worried about changing it because maybe I'm just misunderstanding. But as far as I'm aware, if I press, let's say, like, I'm here, right? And I'm pressing shift. Excuse me. I think I have the gnats again. It's flying around me here. 1 sec. Make sure it doesn't just get stuck in my nose. I have these fungus gnats, apparently. No, it did not fly into my nose, but it was very close. Apparently they don't fly very well. That's probably why it's just hovering around. Sorry. Let me just jump to somewhere else. I just need to verify. So if I press Control now, it goes and then comes back. Here right now, it doesn't go and come back. The problem is the tool is actually capturing all the key presses, even when the tool isn't active. Which I don't actually want it. Handle key down. You have to be a bit careful with these kind of changes. So handle tool. So this is what handles the tool. Object.value. So this loops through all the tools. The question is, yeah, okay, so it makes sense to let it loop through all the tools, even if the tool isn't active. So I can have multiple tools active at the same time and have tools that don't appear necessarily as a button or as a mode switch, right? That's kind of what I want to do, even with the editor. But it means over here, I have to be a little bit more responsible. And detect when we're active. And that should be kind of something that the tool knows about. So handle tool enter. Is that something we're handling from here? Tool exec handler. This tool equals tool. So I should basically be able to go into this key handler here and then just do something like console.log framework.app.tool. And that should let me detect if we are currently in the editor tool or not. Got it. Finally. Bloody gnats. Ugh. I hope now that I found the plant and put it outside, I've solved that problem once and for all. But hard to tell, hard to tell. Okay, so keyboard event, key don't have control. By the way, I'm just realizing we have family over tonight and I need to know. I need to stop the stream before. I need to tidy up some things. There's pieces of my chair everywhere because I'm still trying to get the parts. Unfortunately, just when I finally decided to order the part, it was out of stock. It was in stock the week before, so that always sucks. All right. Tool normal. Now if I go here and I press Control, editor. Okay. And the editor. Well, let's do this. So editor, app.tool editor, puzzle editor dot name. So we want to check if framework app.tool is not equal this dot name, return. And we want to do the same thing for key control. Actually, we probably don't want to have this one at all and just handle it in this generic handler down below. Right? So if I'm here now, yeah. Framework to app tool. Reading cannot read properties of undefined. 3827. 3827. Ah, okay. So that works now. Boom. Okay. So first of all, yeah, we want to avoid control always. So one second. If I press control here. Nope. If I press control. So that's handle key down. Framework tool, key handler, keyboard event. Yada yada yada. Active element. Yada yada yada. Right. If we're not, if it's not the right tool, do nothing. If event dot key, or is it code? I think key. Then we want to return true. All right. So now control shouldn't do that anymore. Okay, it still does that. Control C, release. So on the handle key up now, I still don't understand why we would ever change tool. Was it trying to change tool 2? Let's have a look at that. It literally wants to change it to this. And I think it never kicked in the past, because by that time we would already have changed tool. Hey, Jackie, how you doing? Thanks. I feel like I'm kind of stumbling together. I really should edit all of these 2-hour streams into like a 5-minute. Hey, look, we made the thing and it's working. Woohoo! And here was the struggles. 30 seconds time lapse with lots of oohs and ahs. All right, I think this code is actually completely wrong. It's changing the tool on key up, which should never happen. But I think in normal operation, on key up, we already changed tool. So this becomes a no-op. So I believe I can just remove this altogether. On key up, what we want to do is we want to do this, which resets our temporary tool change. So we should be able to do this, and that should avoid the issue. So I should be able to now control C this, and releasing the C key should not temporary tool switch. Oh, shoot. Now I get it. I think... Oh, man. I think it's fixing some weirdy thing. Control left, control event.key. So handle key up, tool temp key. Tool temp key on control returns undefined? That doesn't make any sense. Oh, name. Control. Left control. Tool temp key is key. Wait a second. If I on key down, on key up. So on key down. All right, let me just see this. On key down. Tool temp key is center. On key up. Pref tool is center. Tool is center. but tool temp key is not center, even though it's the same key. Is it because it only looks for key up or key down or whatever? It doesn't seem to limit that. What the heck is going on? But I think this is something why that was there. It fixed a problem. So key down. Why does it run through all of those? So key up, control left, shift pressed and app control left, control. So let's look at the tools. Is tool true? Action long value. Tool center. Because it's doing these, and those will be false by the time we get here. Handle key up. Do I need to run this before update keys happens then? Basically. Is that enough? Is that enough? I'm so worried about this. Like, I can break something and never be able to fix it again. Control C. Control Shift. Do we have Control something? Because Control C and Control V obviously overlaps on these things. Here it works now. Whoops. We should probably not allow control and then like, yeah, another hotkey. Do we do a prevent default then here? I think we definitely do it prevent default here. Yeah, the question is, was that working better before? So if I do a Control S here. Oop. So if I Control S here, it doesn't try to save, which means we did a prevent default properly here. Oh man, this is a dicey one. This is a dicey one. Do I make changes that I might have to undo, because then I realize later why that code was there, right? So let's think about, this is the code that I was removing. What was this doing? On key up, we are changing to the tool temp key. If the tool temp key is undefined. Now we know that if we're releasing the tool temp key, at this point it will be undefined. So it doesn't actually deal with that situation. It deals with us releasing other characters. So when I'm holding the control and I'm releasing V, I'm changing to the tool, to the temp tool. I'm changing to the temp tool. Now, obviously, I could hijack this the same way here and then manually prevent it from the tool event handler, but it seems so clumsy. It should not change out of a temp tool if it's not in a temp tool. And the question is, why does it change into a temp tool at all at this stage, right? It should already be in the temp tool. It should have gotten into the temp tool on key up. And I think it was dealing with some kind of circumstance where the key press wasn't registered for some reason. Maybe on Safari, coming in from outside the window, tabbing into the browser or something like that. Ah, it went to another album. That's why it was sounding weird. 1 second, let me go back to where I was. It's supposed to be only looping this playlist. Loop playlist. That's what I wanted. All right. I thought that was weird. I don't want to mess with this. But the easiest thing to do here would be to simply oh man, this is a big-ish change. It can really screw stuff up. I mean, first of all, we definitely want to do this. And change tool should be smart enough to know if we require a tool change, right? So change tool, you know, checks if we have the tool, yada yada yada. If tool is undefined and this pref tool is not equals undefined, yada yada yada. Like it should exit out early enough. So here now, if I do this, then click here and then do this. Whoops. So Control W, close the window. Does it close this one as well? Yes. Ah, that's a bit sucky. But then Control S is prevented. That's so strange, but Control W is not. Control... Oh, wait. Was I able to select cells? Shoot. That's also something that I've broken. Why can I select cells now? Ah, because this... I think because I've modified the selection style? No. Ah. If I... Oh, I think this tool itself also modifies the selection style. No, I think I've been I've done this ages ago and then just not fixed it. The selection styles, the style updates. Puzzle editor, components, compare styles. Where are the styles? Tool, editor, puzzle editor, tool events, init. Let's just do this for a sec. It's probably a code smell anyways. I'm pretty sure we're updating the styles here. So, cage borders, X killer selection cage, selection cage, fill stroke, find selection cage. We're not modifying that here. Ah, man. I'm almost tempted to revert a couple of things because that behavior, to get that to work properly, was really, really tough. And breaking that, yeah, you see, I don't get selections here. Do I get selections here? Why do I get selections here? Let me have a look at the pen tool quickly. I mean, obviously I hadn't changed the pen tool, right? Or is it something I did in Tool Pen CSS? No, not Tool Pen CSS, Tool Edit, no, Tool Editor CSS. Did I do something here? Tool section, add, editor, input, output. No, don't think it's anything to do with this. Tool Pen. Click cell. Handle drag start. Line dragging is false. I think it's handling it through these function handlers. I think. Ah, wait a second. It could be that, and I did this ages ago, just that these have to return true now. I think before, just their mere existence would stop the default behavior. Oop. Return true. And now I think if I return true, that will do the trick. Nope. Shit. No. It's still relying on these things for the drag events. Handle drag start. Handle drag move. If I return true from these, will that do the trick? It gets rid of the selection. Huh. Alright, so drag start, returning false from drag start is all it takes to stop the selection behavior. Alright, I'm gonna proceed with this, but very cautiously. Because it's a whole bunch of changes now. And we gotta be careful, because I don't want to spend so much time fixing things that used to work. That's always a bit painful. There's already so much stuff here. 3, 7, 1, 2. Just get rid of all this rubbish. So this, I think, was fine. Handle key down, handle key up, handle key is key 2614. Let's clean that up. I don't really have any dependencies, like I'm not using any frameworks or anything. I did pull in a couple of tools of my own making, like I have a little event handler system. And other than that, just the files on the site, really. Like there's no external dependencies per se. 5, 7, 8. So anything else? 3816. I think this is also revertible now. If tool temp is not equals undefined. Probably too small to read stream. Tool temp key. So I removed this line. I got rid of the else here. We've changed this, and we've changed the parse RC val. All right, that's not too severe. Okay, and all of this mostly so I could, you know, put a long string in here. and click somewhere else, put it in there, click back here, go back in there, delete all of it, delete all of it, go back here, put it back. Yeah, so that seems to work. So the editing here seems to work. I think we're gonna do a bunch of cleanup, and then soon I'm gonna have to call it a day, I think. But now it's taking shape, and now all this stuff is working. I think all the pain might actually have been worth it in the end. I mean, Mark kept telling me to do it more and better. Let's just do this for a sec. Alright, let's have a look at this one. And let's get rid of some of these extra logging. Excuse me, itchy nose. Okay. Resolve puzzle. And oops. Ah, that's already update inspector. I think we can start cleaning these up as well. All right, new cage editor. What else we got? Handle tool enter. Yeah, so handle tool enter. That's fine. That's fine. Open current puzzle. Load puzzle data. Open current puzzle. Okay, that we also need to keep an eye on. I think that stuff is still temporary. Nope. Save this, reload this. So now I can do this. Ah, what we haven't got yet is adding of cages. That should be super easy-ish now. Because... what happens when we're trying... interesting. Yeah, let's implement add cage. Why not? Let's do it. So it creates the cage component. Get cage elements obviously fails. Get cage elements. 296. So, let's see. And I think the cells should already be assigned at this point. I'm not entirely certain in which order this stuff happens. But let's see. Oop, don't want that. Boom. So props.cells undefined. So we don't actually want to parse cells. Do we want to parse cells? No, because they've already been parsed. So we can just pass in the cells. And clear, add. All right, undefined, reading offset, get page elements, cage component 288. 288, 301. So get cell outline should not fail on an empty array. I mean, we can avoid going in, but it should just not. So that's probably something we can fix here. Cells. Yada, yada, yada. Cells for each cell. So none of these actually do anything. 301 offset. Oh. 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 Cage style. Ah, that should already... Alright, it was the cage style actually. It wasn't even the cell in here. Okay. So obviously we can't set attributes on things that don't exist. 333. Apply style. Props. This is the current style for style name. Elements path set attribute. Apply style. If elements path. Boom. And hey! Never do this. Yeah, okay. Alright, alright, alright. Canary properties undefined reading offset. So I think we have a similar issue, is that if we're adding a cell for the first time, we don't actually... Okay. Well. Let's just put that in here. So clear. Create a new cage. Click here. So we are calling add cell, and add cell pushes it, and that runs update path, and update path fails because we don't have the elements yet. Okay. So we do. I can just do this, right? And we probably want to pull elements out extra. Then we're failing here. Where does cells come from? Props.cell, cells.map, yada, yada, yada. Okay, this probably should happen first. And then this stuff is optional. And then here we're going to do if val path, right? Now, of course, that also means it will never update. Val path is not defined. Val, no, path element, not val path. What am I doing? All right. And click. Boom. All right. Now, if path is not defined at this point, I think we want to re-render. Right. Except, do we want to do this before update happens, or do we want to do it doing add cell? I think we might do it in here. So, if path element equals undefined, we actually still want to do this. But first, we'll do a rebuild SVG call. Where's that? Ah, here. So we do this, rebuild SVG, and we'll probably need to do this again. Is it that easy? I doubt it. Ooh, it doesn't like these. Path element equals elements dot path. And even elements. Get cage elements. Get cage elements. Get cage elements. How am I handling elements here? I'm just checking if I'm assigning. Yes. So these assignments are meaningless. A token is not meaningless. These two will potentially be broken then. Plus, click. Props, cells. Can read properties undefined. Reading a remove. 3, 4, 3. 3, 4, 3. Elements. So elements path undefined. Values undefined. Why do we have an elements here that's undefined? Elements path undefined. Elements apply style elements path. If I guess we're getting an undefined path over here. If not, it's path or path lm equal, and then if path lm, that gets assigned to our elements property. So boom, clear, click. Now it's calling rebuild SVG, but it isn't rebuilding SVG. Interestingly enough. Why is that? So rebuild SVG, elements blank, props. All we have is a cell, which should be all we need. All right. Props.cells, cells.map. Wait, we should have cells as well. These should work. So clear, add, click. What do we get? Rebuild SVG, cells. We create a cage with an undefined cage value. Style undefined. So I think we should default to a specific style. In this case, killer, I believe. So let's do it down here. In our puzzle editor, no, in our cage editor. Create handle input down, create component. Well, for now, we're just going to make the default value in here. So this dot props if because the props get assigned here. Dot style. we're... let's do this for now. This might be something we need to sort out later. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. And we have a new cage. And we can just play Sudoku with this cage. Now, does that cage validate? I don't know if it will. That's a good question. If I do this, select a different cage, go back here, and put a 3 and a 4 in, and then doesn't look quite right. Any value found? Okay, okay, okay. But does it validate the killer cage? No. Probably because unique isn't set and all that stuff. But it's an interesting thing, actually. So that's fine for now. We probably have a bunch of other properties we want to set, like uniqueness and all that sort of thing. We probably don't do that. Oh. Oh. Ah, yes. Another test. What if a cage does no longer has any cells? If I do this, 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 and this, we're removing the last cell, and then get cage value just blows up. Remove cell, update path. So now we solved the case of the things not existing in update path. Equals undefined. But we might want to do the other way around. If path equals undefined, or cells.length equals 0. Okay. So what does that look like? So we hit update path, we hit rebuild SVG. After rebuild SVG, we get back to update path in line 382, because these need to be reassigned. So what I'm gonna do then is I don't think we're using them before. Yeah. So we're just gonna get them here, and path is used until there. If path elem. I'm just gonna do that. Right. I think that looks fine. So clear it out, delete, 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 and delete. And I mean, I'm still expecting this to error, but maybe in a different place. 383, 383. So we shouldn't be, because these aren't removed. Because technically we can have a cage without cells and a cage value. Doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. Rebuild SVG will have executed this with an assigned cage value, though. Cage props.cage value. I think we want to call get cage value here. This dot get cage value. So that should recalculate the position of the cell. Now, wait a second. Aren't we already updating cage value when we're updating the path? So update path, get update path, update. Because update path already changes where the cells are, right? So we have update path, and then we have all of this, props cage value, parse RC val, new cage value, get new cage value, get cage value. So we're kind of already doing this here. But we're just moving them around. So we don't want to assign it because we need this to reference this, to update it, to know if it's changed. Okay. And in fact, these things don't actually, they should be in here. This check should be on the inside. And this check should be on the outside because we should assign the value if it's changed. Up like that. And then all this stuff should happen on the inside. And maybe these should be separated out, but whatever. All right, delete, 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 and delete, and it's all gone. But we still get an error. 371. We're doing rebuild SVG. 351. We're executing get cage value. 327. Get cage value looks at label cells. And label cells don't come back if there's nothing. Right. And then label cell does this. Boom, 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 boom. Label cell is undefined. Yeah, so then we go basically the same thing that we did for val here. So label cell and this whole thing, or an empty string. This only exists if both of them exist. All right, let parts. If label cell parts dot push parts dot push this bitty here, and then if val parts dot push parts dot push, we have this part, actually just the val part, right? Val, and now we can have a look at what these parts look like. Parts and dot join. So that should only insert that string if we have both. Right, and then we do want to return this, basically. It's a little awkward. Probably just a few if statements, whatever, would have done the job, but I like consistency sometimes more than elegance. All right. And we're just slowly moving up to the next thing. Parts 27, parts.join. So this returns just a singular value without a row column thing value. Okay, that works. And the next time we're blowing up is in get cage elements. Wait, rebuild SVG, get cage elements. Okay, get cage elements gets called. And then in 313, we're blowing up on this val, elements.val. So this is assuming val exists. Why would it assume val exists? Val only gets created if there's cells. Okay. So basically, if elements.val, then do this. If elements.val and elements.g. We're only moving them if they exist. Right. Why are we doing this here in get cage elements? Find cage val BG. Yeah, alright. Boom. Oh, and then we blow up. Can't read property of undefined. Okay, so now we should be able to just put the cells back in, and the cage should just come straight back. And I think that's kind of where I want to get to. Hey, Pixel Prophecy! Welcome to the stream! I really appreciate your likes on my tweets. But obviously showing up is even better. How are you doing? I'm afraid not a lot of pixels today. It's all SVG. I'm so tempted to throw in some of my old pixel art text in there. I was so proud of my miniature, I think it was a 3x4 font. Ugh, I love that. Spent so much time tinkering with that stuff. Alright. Rebuild SVG 351. I'm just chasing small bugs instead of thinking about it and doing it properly. Just letting it break and then fixing it where it broke. Cannot read properties of undefined reading remove. So we cannot remove, so we're back to having val undefined. Alright, so val got undefined. Elements.val here. So basically, same case as what we had here. So let val elem make it equal to this. And then if val elem ems.val equals val elem. All right. All right. So got a cage selected. We're deleting all the cells. This is not updating, but it updated now. Now we're putting it back. Okay. So 2 issues. This is not updating now. Yeah. Actually, I wrote some code recently. Oh man, I don't even remember where I put it. Because I've had those fonts and they were like in some format I dreamt up back in the 90s. And I finally wrote a little script just to pull them out and put them into a PNG. Did I put this here? No. Where would I have done that? I don't even know if that would be in its own folder or just like a throwaway something. Where would I put something like that? I can't even think of it now. Oh, Tor Pascal to JavaScript. Ha! TP2JS. All right. I think it's this one. Hey. Oh, okay. That doesn't render well. That does not render well. Does it render better here? Ew, can I can probably unpixelate it. What's the CSS for making pixelation? Image rendering pixelated. Ah, here we go. Oh man, I don't think I can zoom it higher, right? I don't know. 100 pixels. There we go. And in the format, I think the line in between determines how wide the character is because it was a variable width font format. Yeah, but I think the most brutal thing is that I did lowercase as well. So are these 3x4? Yeah, but it's variable width, so the W is wider. So for example, the W is 5x4. X is only 3 wide. But, and I think the uppercase letters, I probably cloned or copied them from some existing game that I like, maybe... Terror from the Deep, I actually have that font elsewhere, but like some game from back in the day. The CNC font was nice from Command & Conquer. But I did lowercase characters. Look at this. Look at this tiny A. The A is only 3x3. The F is 2x4. The C is 2x3. The I, 4x2. 4x1. And I think they're all recognizable. A, B, C, D. Like, if you wrote something with these characters, if you ignore the separating line, you know, R, O. I mean, it helps that it's variable width, so the W is actually relatively huge. The Z. Uppercase B. Still works. Yeah, sort of. That's probably the crappiest of the letters. Especially since it's a bit font, right? It's one color per pixel. The E is also a little dodgy. The H looks odd. Actually, the line should probably be at the top, not at the bottom. Even the K. But, I mean, you know, the reason I made fonts in the first place originally was to debug, because I started from scratch. And, you know, you don't know what's going on. Like, I was like, you know, poking bytes into memory to create graphics, to switch the graphics card to graphics mode and stuff. So it's like, I don't know what's going on. I need to debug something. And my first font was literally a giant K statement with just put pixel, you know? And then eventually I codified that. And my first font format was literally Pascal files that had just rows of put pixels and stuff. And the only reason I built a font system was so I could debug the core basic code. Yeah. And the funniest thing was that was kind of the first thing I did. And because it was the first thing, it was always in ways... I don't even know if I have the Pascal's code here. I should put my Pascal code in Git, actually. That's actually a cool idea. I never really thought about that. Because I'm always worried about losing it, and I'm carrying it over. It's called Pascal CD because I put it all on the CD like 20 years ago or something. I mean, it hasn't been on a CD in a long time. But I think, I don't know, I don't remember if I have the first font text thing, but it was always like, it was, because it was the first thing I built, it was the thing that got most advanced and most developed. So that's why the game itself was using characters as for all the sprites, because the font rendering code was the most advanced and the most optimized. You know, it's like it had different cases for clipping on the edges of the screen for all four sides. Everything was hard-coded, you know. Yeah, man, I miss those days. I think some of I have probably like OBJ files of like compiled. Oh god. Oh, that's Brazenham in assembler. Circle Brazenham. Oh man. I'd love to. Sometimes I need to work on one of those fantasy consoles because. Here we go, fonts. Yeah, look at that. This was the second generation font format before I moved to actual binary files. Look at that. And these are the widths of the characters. And that's the characters that are actually in the list. And this file was, you know, before I knew how to make my own binary format and decode it and all that stuff. Oh man. I don't even remember if I generated this file or if I built it by hand. Couldn't have built it by hand, could I? No. But I think this was my way of like including the font into the executable file instead of having it as a separate file. So I probably had something that compiled a bitmap or something into that format. Well, Sudoku is pretty primitive. That shouldn't be a problem. I mean, I always wanted to bring my old Pascal game forward, actually. Like, I call it Xenocide Infinite to kind of do sort of an infinite scrolling world multiplayer, like go all out, but still have the graphics, the old-fashioned graphics, but then go all out on modern stuff, like multiplayer, massive multiplayer kind of thing, you know? So... Oh, man. All right, let's find out why... Oh, I got it from around 7:20, 7:30 we'll be home. It's 6:30. All right, I've got half an hour, and then I'm gonna scramble to clean up the place because the mother-in-law is coming over. Why is this piece of text not getting properly re-rendered? So, when I delete this, what happens? We're removing a cell, we're updating path. We are not rebuilding the SVG. We're updating the path. A new cage value, so it's probably somewhere around here. No worries, no worries. Man, I love the old stuff. I miss it. That was like my... I think, like, in the first 6 months of programming learning, I learned more than I've learned in the last 10 years. Like, even... then I'm going back to it. But even things like... even like how the files are organized or something. Like, I look at my old files now, and I'm jealous, like, how well organized stuff is and how you can find things. And I think I implemented garbage collection and all stuff like that. Like, B screen, virtual screen. That's just the mouse cursor I was using. Oh god. Later on, the mouse cursor was just another character in a font. I actually had a font of mouse cursors. But that was the mouse cursor. And it wasn't even anti-aliased, all by hand. Hex characters, anti-aliased by hand. Come on. Oh man. And I love being able to mix assembler and high level. Just kind of like, and even like commenting it out like that. Yeah. And it's really great for unrolling inner loops and stuff. Let me see. I think my... Is it XG color? XG font, that's probably where all the font rendering stuff is. Put char. Yeah, so this is like unrolled, super optimized, high speed, you know, clipping and all that stuff. But I think there was a function I was really proud of. It was, I was working with a RGB color palette. I was like 3 bits R, 3 red, 3 bits blue, and no, 3 bits green and 2 bits blue, right? And then the idea was that I could basically just use RGB, and I can say, okay, give me a color halfway between the two, and transparency and things like that. And to find the color from the palette, I actually search the color palette. But I search it with a super optimized assembler algorithm that's unrolling the loop, and it's loading like, you know, the palette has 3 bytes, so 24 bits, but I'm loading 32 bits at a time, even though it was 16-bit assembler, you know, I was using some bytecode manipulation. And then unrolled the loop like 12 times or something, and it was just so fast. It was awesome. Is that a quick sort in assembler? Yeah, well, it's sort of half and half. I love mixing stuff like that. This is quick sort in hybrid. Very fast. Much faster than anything we have nowadays. Yeah. I think Xline was my optimized algorithm for drawing arbitrary lines. I mean, I had just sort of started learning English at the time, so everything was kind of X something. Set scan, no. There was like RGB match or something, or find RGB or something. Color cycling, you remember color cycling on 256 color palettes? B-spline. Yeah, that's not even assembler, look at that. So slow. Wait, why is quicksort part of draw F poly? I re-implemented quicksort there just for sorting vertices, I believe. Alright, that's crazy. Even by my standards. Huh, alright. Anyway. Yeah, I should open source that whole thing. I mean, Pascal and assembler. Somebody might find it fun. One second. I really need to get the chat onto screen and maybe things like tweets or something like that. All right. Where were we? Where were we? All right. So I'm updating the path. Oh, yes. So I'm updating the path, and I want to see if these things get updated here. So probably what's happening is it's not updating these because they're not different. Except they should be different. In fact, they are different, right? So they are different. Okay, so they are different. Maybe these things are not quite available here. What's going on? They are different. But they're different. Ah, background element is undefined. Well, why is that? Why you be undefined? Okay, so the background element is probably not getting captured right now. Don't know why. Elements. Yeah, we don't have valbg. Okay, so valbg is not getting captured in getCacheElements. If val element and... Ah, no, this is stupid. That doesn't make any sense. No, that doesn't make any sense. Okay. All we have to do is this whole shebang again. And... Whoops. Val... VG element. Val VG element. Val VG. I think that's what happened. There we go. And we should be able to delete it and then bring it back. Except it didn't get its elements back. Okay, so let's delete it and click here. And what happens? We get an update path. We get rebuild SVG, so that removes everything. Props, blah, yada yada cells, elements. Where does this come from? 388. Okay. Path element. I mean, the path is coming back, right? Val. And let's have a look at these guys. Yada yada yada. And props.cacheValue. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Prep. Click. Let's see. Yeah, val comes back as undefined here, and props.cacheValue is this. That's odd. Props.cacheValue. This is happening after the rebuild. Right, so we delete it all. This should cause a rebuild of the SVG object, right? Here. Now we're trying to find our elements. Now the rebuild didn't have a val. Oh. Rebuild SVG. GetCacheValue. Doesn't have a value. Props. CacheValue. Props. Why is sum 27, but CacheValue is just that? So this getCacheValue function is not doing the right thing. It's not doing the right thing. So we have a val here, we have a val there, and we have a props CacheValue here and there. So bada, bing. GetCacheValue undefined, val is undefined, Parse RCVal is returning undefined at that point. That's not right. So parse RCVal was never designed to extract value only. So what if we do this? And then we'll do this. Make this whole capture group optional. And then we'll do this. Oh, will that work? No. No. No, 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 no. 484. 484. Is this fixable though? Cell is undefined. Undefined, 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 undefined. Okay. Where were these cells assigned? Yeah. Cells. All right. Yippee-dip-doo. Render cage 507. 507. 507 cells. Render cage anonymous 1688. 1686 cells. Parse cells. Parse cells. Okay. Parse cells. Cells. Parse cells. Okay. Resolve puzzle.resolve RC. Resolve RC. Ugh. I don't even remember. How does that resolve? I'm guessing it doesn't anymore. Parse RCVal. I'm guessing this is broken now. So it doesn't like parsing these guys. So this is optional. Then this is optional. Oh, wait. No. What is that bit? I didn't notice that. I just ignored that. Yeah, what's this supposed to be? I should not just erase, change things like that and think I understand. That was a long time ago. What the heck? So that's a... That's a group, a character group containing a colon and an equal sign. Oh, I'm an idiot. Okay, I thought this was the colon that I'm looking for, but that's just the marker for the thingamajig. All right, so we have an optional white space colon equals white space segment. Yes, okay. So now I should be able to do this and this. Oh, so close. So close. So close. Wait, if I do this, that works. Interesting. But if it goes away, that no longer works. That's curious. All right, let's have a quick look. Boom. Why are these undefined down here? I have a feeling. That's not quite right. Editor dot. No. What properties do I have? No. All right, never mind. 404. 404. So we are in update path. Get cage value. It's an outline. Get cage elements. My god, how far in am I here? This is all still update path. Update path. Okay, so we've rebuilt the thing. And then all the way down here, elements. Well, it didn't find the other elements. Okay. Update path. Rebuild SVG. After rebuilding SVG, we are also executing get page elements. Okay. And then get page elements here. Let me just... So I reduce the confusion just a little bit, tiny little bit. Confusion reduction. So delete, 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 delete. Clear, add, boom. Get cage elements. Props, yada, yada, yada. Val cells. Path element. Props cage value. Props val. Props val element. Find cage val. Props cage value 27. Get page elements. Cage element here has not been updated correctly. So when we're doing rebuild SVG, we need to update. No, we need to update that thing, the cage value, when we're updating the cells. When we're updating the cells, we're calling update path, and that's what we're in the middle of, right? So update path, we're here, right? We're doing update path. We've changed the cells. So now the cage value will be in a different place. Yeah, so I'm doing all of this to not move it unless it needs moving. Okay, in this case, new cage value, get cage value, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Then we get to update path. Get cage value, eventually. I have a feeling I'm going in circles here because I'm relying on get cage value. Get cage value then screws up one way or another. Val. And label cell. One sec. So da. And da. So you're now looking at get cage value. Sorry, this is tedious, I'm sure, but it's got to be done. It's the less pretty part of programming. It's where you just hit the wall really hard with your head until the wall falls over. At least that's my strategy usually. So label cell 44. if label cell parts push val. Wait. Parts and parts.join. Yeah. So clear. Ooh. Clear. Parts.join. So this is what we're outputting. New cage value is this. Okay. So update path. We definitely have a new cage value. New cage value. But at this point, we didn't find the elements because... okay, so I need to so in case of rebuilding, I just need to update it anyways. So I'm going kind of in circles here. Because this means we haven't found these yet, right? Wait a second. Update path elements here. Yeah, so this is kind of a circular thing. Rebuild SVG wants to get the elements, but getting the elements depends on having an up-to-date cage value. So we probably don't want to use this here anyways. So we probably want to do something like let cage value equals this.get cage value. And then instead of using props.cage value, we use this cage value. Oh man, this is so... Ugh. This down here is pointless because it doesn't change. And we might as well look at the whole thing. Okay, so delete... Oh, shoot. Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is a recursive call. Yes. That's why I cannot use get cage value in here. Oh, man. Okay, so that's stupid. Alright, so that was really stupid of me. That doesn't explain, though. Why do I need cage value inside cage value? That's just stupid. Right. So, at the end, I'm returning this. So get cage value operates correctly. So rebuilding here operates correctly as well. And the problem is this props cage value, which is here, needs to be updated from this. Or this needs to use get cage value. Why would I be using props.cage value in get cage elements? I shouldn't be doing that. This is where I'm going wrong. So if I replace this with this.getCage value, and I don't think that's going to create a loop, right? Yes, and then I can delete it again, and then I can put it somewhere else. Okay, so now it always generates the SVG correctly, and I can still edit another piece of SVG here, and I can put this back to here, our little 27K. Uh-oh. Wait a second. This 27K. Ooh, okay. So that thing doesn't get removed properly. But that I think I can sort out. so I think all of this stuff is working now. Let's just reduce the spam a little. Let's clean that up as well while we're at it. 1522. There's some super spammy things in here. And 1569. I have to be careful that I don't have the code in a mess when I have to suddenly stop. And 417. Bad habit for me to have all this logging sitting around in the code in comments. This should be info. Just trying to reduce diffs here. This stuff is super dodgy that I've changed these things here. I just hope they're okay. Cage value is not equal to undefined. Do this. Now I'm just doing it. Yeah. If cage value is not equal to undefined and val. Actually, it is not equal. It will never be not undefined anymore. So now I care only about val. Yeah. Because that should be undefined now because it'll return an empty array, which it didn't used to. Okay. I hope that's not a performance issue, creating all those empty arrays. I wonder if it could return the same empty array always. Or just rely on the optimizer. Alright, anyway. Let's roll this up. So, there is a bad case up there now. Where'd that come from? Huh? Alright, so this I think also works now. Yeah, that was stupid. We shouldn't have a dead cage up here. How many cage components should get created? 1, 2. But why is bad stuff happening here already? 2, 2, 1. Expected length NaN attribute wide. Why? What the heck? 2, 2, 1. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. Attribute X. Highlights. X, Y, and A. Oh. Might change to the RC stuff. Render text. Alright. Let's see if I can fix it. Otherwise, I might have to go back. So the X's and Y's here are not a number. And I'm guessing somewhere around here I'm decoding something where all the information is now broken. So render text. Yeah, so render text here already is whatever goes in here is already broken. So render cage, next stop. Let's see. Where are I'm parsing RC values, aren't I? Okay. It's probably right, this thing here. Debug, 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 debug. Removing bugs and adding features are very similar things. Why is it coming with the string undefined? God damn it. God damn. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. It's nice not to be yelling into the void on your own. Have a good day. Everybody follow Pixel Prophecy on Twitter. He's got really good content. Undefines, yeah. Back in the day, you would just get a black screen, your computer would reboot. Undefined. In all the varieties, what the heck is going on here? What? I'm already passing garbage in, and it looks at the garbage and just turns into different garbage. RCV is undefined. Right, that fixes it, seriously. So it forces the undefined into a string. Which sucks. What if I default this to an empty string? Is that even worse? Or will it at least return an empty array then? Yeah, it'll return an array of undefined. Oh, wait, what? Seriously? No. This is better. Oh, because it's all optional now. Ah, I'm an idiot. Because they're all optional. Shoot. Since they're all optional, it will always match. Right, so I can match this. And it will always match. Is there a more elegant way of doing this? I can't really have them all optional. I need one or the other. The problem is one or both or the other are like 3 cases, right? Because basically I could have a digit on its own or a string on its own. I could have an RC value on its own, or I could have an RC value followed by a colon, blah, blah, followed by a thing. But this is optional. These two are all alternates, or both. I mean, I could write the whole thing out like this. I could have 3 copies of this, right? I could say, okay, it's either RC or some kind of value, which of course the string undefined is a valid value. And that's the problem, right? Because this, so an empty string should work actually. Oops. An empty string should work because the value must have at least one character in it, and undefined just as a string. Okay, so if I, okay, because it converts this to a string, and undefined turns into the string undefined, right? Which obviously doesn't make a lot of sense, but you know. 1506 RC or empty string. Yeah. Except this matches undefined on all the matching groups. Ah, because it's still optional. God damn it. So what I need is basically, I cannot have the next character be the closey symbol, right? Does that do that? Don't know if it does. I guess it does because it's returning. No, it's still returning undefined, an array with 3 undefines in it. M is not iterable. Wait, no. What am I doing? Boom. M is null. But then ah, 520. Wait a second. 520. Ah, okay. So that works. I could return early, but same difference, right? And now this won't break anymore, and I should be able to do this, and that should work. And the 27 should always... Oh, there's a... We have a 27 clone after all. Yeah, okay. So that's a different problem. I hope that's a different problem. And for the millionth time, I'm cleaning up this logging again. 504 info 349 info and 211 info and okay, that's that change. Okay. So I'm suspecting what happens is when I'm re-rendering the cage. So, delete, and clear, and delete. So we get an update path. Remove the cell, update path. It's asking me to rebuild SVG. And it basically renders the text even though... Alright, so find render cage. So it renders the text even though we don't have a cage. Probably because of this thing down here. So delete, clear, delete. So what happens here? Rendering the cage here. This comes back as NAN and a 27. Yeah, we don't want to render any cage if cells.length is 0. I think that's the easiest thing to do. If cells.length equals 0, return. But we also... not exactly. So the idea would be, in theory, you should be able to make a cage without cells in it, but have a value that's at a position. The problem is this only works if these 3 things actually all exist, right? So we have to do if R and C and val. We need all 3 elements, right? And I'm gonna write it all out because I don't trust. Val, no, because even an empty string is okay here. So if I delete this thing now, it still goes there. It still goes there. Why does it still go there? We get an NA, because it's NAN. I think that's an error though. We should not get back an NAN, we should get back undefined. Yeah. So R and C and 0 and x is what? So 0 is true. -1 and x is x. If r not equal undefined, then return number r. So tedious. Is this what people mean when they like TypeScript? Otherwise, just return it, because we want undefined out. We don't want NaN. We don't want to convert. No, because I was going to say, what if I do NaN or whatever? But then if it's -1, we've got a problem again. So we don't want those kind of problems. We'll just write it out. We'll just write it out. Trying to remember what I'm fixing now. Yes, still doing the magic disappearing act. Is that fixing it actually? Is that... wait, did I do the other thing as well? So in theory, that means now, in theory, we should be able to have a cage that has a value at a position, at a given cell location, like this, for example, without any cells. So render cage. Now, if these two didn't come back as undefined, so let's kind of hack it in there and see what we'll get. The rebuild SVG, render cage, cage opt, cage value. Let's just hard code this to be... Oh. I pressed the button. Rebuild SVG, yeah. Let's hard code this to be, I don't know, row 7, column 7, and the value is high. Right? So if I erase this and do this, it goes here. If I do this, it doesn't come back because it can't find it because it doesn't match what we have on record. Okay, fair enough. Although it's strange that it doesn't recreate it either. Oh, because it's hard coded, so it's actually it's always gonna be there. Yeah. Okay. That's kind of cool. Don't know if we're gonna use it, but I'd like to have that option. Okay. Time to clean up this mess. Because it is a big mess indeed. 5, 2, 1. All right. Script. Yep, we don't need that anymore. Okay, new cage component. Don't need that anymore. I just added that back in a moment of weakness. All right. And delete, delete, do update path, update path, boom. So we should be able to just remove all of these now. All right. That's how remove sound. I can leave that there. Remove, 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 remove. Cage opts. Cage opts, boom. Cage opts. Okay. Now put it back here. So we can just move the cage. I mean, right now we can't drag yet, but I can probably add that. And then this should be a very easy, convenient way of handling cages. The only thing right now it doesn't handle is overlapping cages, which the data structures can support, but I don't know if that's ever valid, to be honest. So, well, anybody's got any ideas on overlapping cages, I'd be glad to hear it. Whew. But this is actually looking really nice now, and it's starting to be a solid foundation as well. And then once I clean it up, I'm realizing there isn't that much code anymore either. So that just works. If I refresh, let's see. Can we do something like this? And I can now create a new cage. Good question. Creating new cages right now. If I do this, that's selected, and I add a cell, add another cell, add another cell, add another cell. Change the text, add the cell. Man, it just works. It just bloody works. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Ah, it just works. Okay, could probably get rid of these. 5, 2, 3. Do a little bit more cleanup. Yeah, do this. Don't think any of these things are required at the moment. That's taken care of by this biddy here. What else we got here? Create a new cage. Put some numbers in it. Create another cage. Oh, nope. Create another cage. Put some numbers in it. Create another cage. Make it a 99 cage. And we'll put it right here. Then we can select this one, turn it into an L shape. All right. Some more loggers that I can probably do without. Yeah. I can re-enable those later. Oh, I should do a oh, I almost said something. No. GIFcam. Let's do a little demo. Something like... no. No. Nope. 640 by 640. Why is it 638 by 638? God damn it. All right. Maybe I actually want to edit existing cages of some other kind. Does this work? Yeah. Let's fix this quickly. So style components. Hey. Oh, hello. All right. This is 1 second. Yeah, this is my cue. I've overrun my welcome. I'll do the GIF afterwards. So you're allowed to pass a flag to ensure conflict checkers off. Yes, there is. All right, I'll get to that one. So all of these all of these settings are actually classes on the body, and that can be added as an argument. And we can just look at this quickly. Setting dash setting. Query string. It's happening somewhere, so let's just put this in there. You're looking at conflict checker, right? And this is exactly what I did it for, because I'm guessing you have some kind of puzzle where this where the conflict checker just won't work, right? So conflict checker is currently on. Refresh it. Conflict checker is still on. But now if I say conflict checker is 0, that should disable the conflict checker. Conflict checker off, right? Now if you have puzzle ID, you obviously don't use a question mark, right? So, yep, something like this. That should do the trick. All right, that's it. Gotta get going. Thank you guys for hanging out. It was a good stream. Looking forward to the next one, actually. And, you know, leave comments and all that stuff. Or hang out at the Discord. That's always good. And, you know, usual places, patreon.svencoast.com and, you know, Twitter and all that sort of thing. Hey, Maria. You're a student. Well, if I had PhD students, maybe I would outsource more of my coding as well. No worries, no worries. It's more like I've been running late. I was supposed to clean up, and now the guests are here. So that's on me. Thanks, guys. Take care.